Today, we are diving into one of the most shocking cases of betrayal in recent American history, the brutal murder of Cynthia Hoffman. This is not just a story about a killing. It's about friendship twisted by lies, about manipulation carried out through the internet, and about a young woman lured into committing the unthinkable by a stranger she never even met. This is the story of Denali Bremer, the so-called Catfish Killer, and the devastating end of her best friend, Cynthia. Cynthia Hoffman was only 19 years old when her life was stolen. She was known as sweet, trusting, and loyal. Cynthia had a learning disability that made her vulnerable, but to her friends and family, she was loving and full of life. She trusted easily, maybe too easily, and she trusted Denali Bremer, someone she believed was her closest friend. Denali Bremer was just 18 at the time. Outwardly, she seemed like any other Alaskan teenager. She posted on Snapchat, laughed with friends, and dreamed of a future. But Denali carried a secret. She had connected online with a man, a stranger who would change her life forever. The man's name was Darren Schillmiller, a 21-year-old from Indiana, thousands of miles away. He catfished Denali, pretending to be a wealthy millionaire. He promised her fame, money, and a glamorous life. But there was a condition. To prove her loyalty, Denali had to kill someone, and he promised to pay her $9 million for it. At first, it sounded absurd. $9 million to kill? But Denali, young and impressionable, believed him. Schillmiller pushed her further and further, sending her messages, manipulating her mind, and soon, Denali made a decision that would destroy everything. She agreed to murder her best friend. Cynthia Hoffman trusted Denali like a sister. She never suspected the truth. Denali picked her, believing Cynthia would be an easy target. To make this horrifying plan real, Denali recruited help: a 16-year-old boy, Caden McIntosh, and another teen, Caleb Leyland. Together, they prepared to lure Cynthia to her death. June 2nd, 2019. A bright summer day in Alaska. Denali invited Cynthia on a hike near Thunderbird Falls. Cynthia believed it was a fun outing with friends, but what Cynthia didn't know was that it was her final day alive. They laughed as they walked the trail. Cynthia smiled, feeling safe with her best friend. But behind her, Denali carried duct tape, a gun, and a deadly plan. Once they reached a remote area, the mood shifted. Cynthia was suddenly restrained, bound with duct tape. Her pleas fell on deaf ears. Caden McIntosh was handed the gun. At just 16 years old, he pulled the trigger. Cynthia fell to the ground. Her life ended in an instant. A teenage girl murdered by those she trusted most. Afterwards, they pushed her body into the river, leaving her behind like she meant nothing. The group pretended nothing had happened. They posted on Snapchat, sent messages, and acted normal. Denali even continued messaging Schillmiller, sending him photos and videos to prove she had completed the task. She believed she was on her way to millions. But the truth was far darker. Cynthia's family quickly reported her missing when she didn't return home. Police launched a search, and within days, her body was discovered in the Eklutna River. The investigation began to unravel a story nobody could believe. Police quickly noticed strange activity online. Denali and her friends weren't acting like grieving teens. Digital footprints, Snapchat messages, phone records, social media posts began leading detectives straight to them. And soon, the truth began to emerge. Confronted by police, Denali broke down. She admitted everything: the plot, the online millionaire, the murder for money scheme. It all came spilling out. She told officers she killed Cynthia because a man online promised her $9 million. But there was no money. There never was. Denali was arrested. Caden McIntosh and Caleb Leyland were also taken into custody. And from Indiana, Darren Schillmiller faced federal charges for directing the crime. A web of lies had collapsed, but the damage was already done. In court, Denali faced the weight of her crime. The judge described the murder as one of the most senseless acts he had ever seen. Cynthia's family sat through the hearings, listening to the details of their daughter's betrayal. Denali wept, but her tears could not erase the horror of what she had done. Denali Bremer was sentenced to 99 years in prison. Caden McIntosh and Caleb Leyland also received long sentences, and Darren Schillmiller, the so-called mastermind, was convicted of and federal charges related to the murder plot. The case was closed, but the pain remained. Cynthia's father spoke with grief. He said his daughter trusted Denali like a sister. She believed she was with friends, safe and loved. Instead, she was betrayed in the most cruel way possible. The family's heartbreak became a lasting reminder of how dangerous blind trust can be. This case is not only about murder. It's about manipulation, exploitation, and the dark side of the internet. A young girl was brainwashed into killing her best friend by a man she never met, through nothing more than words on a screen. It forces us to ask, how many more lives could be destroyed by digital deception? When the story hit the news, people around the world were stunned. Headlines called it the Catfish Killer. How could teenagers carry out such a brutal act? All because of a fake promise of money. The case became a warning, a chilling example of the deadly power of online predators. Today, Denali Bremer sits in prison, Cynthia Hoffman lies in her grave, and Darren Schillmiller remains behind bars. A family lost their daughter, a community lost its innocence. This is the story of betrayal, greed, and murder, all born from a lie. But now I want to ask you, do you think Denali was simply a manipulative killer? Or was she herself a victim of a master manipulator? Tell me your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this case as shocking as I did, don't forget to like this video, share it with others, and subscribe for more real crime stories. Because sometimes, truth is darker than fiction.